Hey, what's up, my friends? Welcome back to another episode of the Meaningful People Podcast. So happy you are here. I sat down with Shmulie Hartstein this week, and this is an important conversation if I ever had one. Wow. Really important topic, and there's actually like a call to action here. So listen to this and drive yourself to action based on this conversation because we've seen way too many people not listen to this message. So please do. This episode is sponsored by my friends at PZ Deals. Head to their app, head to their website or their app, whichever one, but I have their app. I love their app. And you will see 42% off, 50% off, 36% off, 18% off, 53% off, like constantly over 50% off items. And it is amazing. Never pay full price again. Download the PZ Deals app right now and go ahead and purchase the things that you need and you want, but like not at full price. That's the PZ Deals difference. That's the PZ Deals app. This episode is also sponsored by my friends at Kol Lel Chabad. Take out your phone before we start this episode, or if you're on your phone, then maybe after or come back, or you could do like the keep playing me in the corner of your phone type thing. Go to the Pushka app and boom, give some tzedakah. That's all you got to do is give some tzedakah. Give some for the poor and needy. Go to pushka.cc/meaningful. Download the Pushka app today. Give tzedakah every single day. Get your streak going. You have a 10-day streak, a 30-day streak, a 150-day streak. Imagine that on the Pushka app, pushka.cc/meaningful. Now enjoy this episode. It's not every day that we interview someone that's like, maybe people really don't know you. So there's like a good opportunity for people to really get to know who you are and what you do. Isn't that exciting?
It's very exciting. A lot of people know me, but I guess, let's see.
Well, we're talking big, like, all over the world now. So I guess tell us who you are, what your name is, where you're from.
So my name is Shmulie Hartstein. I grew up in Brooklyn. I'm 39. Place called Borough Park on 18th Avenue and 56th Street, right near the 18th Avenue Park. For all those who know where that is. I'm the youngest of 5 siblings, and I went through the regular yeshiva system. I got married. I lived in Flatbush for a couple of years, and about 10 years ago, my wife and I moved to Muncie. I have 4 beautiful children, 3 boys and a girl. And in a nutshell, that's me up until 4 weeks ago.
Up until 4 weeks ago. So this is fresh. So tell me what, before we get into, what happened 4 weeks ago and what you started, what happened behind the scenes that motivated you to begin this initiative?
So for many years, really since COVID, I was watching a lot of these tzedakah campaigns as someone passed away, and they raised money for the families. And it just bothered me every single time. And every single time they would have a campaign, I would tell my wife, why didn't the person have life insurance? And we would talk about it, and then the next day we would move on. And it just kept bothering me and bothering me and bothering me. And I had a dream. And a few weeks before Pesach, a very, very close friend of mine lost a brother-in-law. And this was a wonderful family, a respectable family, a family that people know. And a couple of brother-in-laws are comfortable. And when the tragedy happened, just so you understand, I'll never forget, I was standing in Home Depot in Nanuet, and it was 7:30 in the morning. It was 7:45 on a Friday morning, and I get a call from my friend, and he says to me, where are you? And I said, I'm at Home Depot. And he says, where's Gitti? Where's my wife? And I said, I don't know. Could be she's sleeping, could be she's up. And he said, could you reach her? We need her. I said, what's going on? He says, my wife's brother passed away in a terrible car accident. And I needed to go next door to help with my kids. So I called my wife probably around 10 times. I called the house phone. I left a message, one of those old phones that you could hear. And I'm like, wake up, I need you. Anyway, finally I reached my wife and she went over. And as the tragedy started playing out, it was very close to me. And a couple of siblings were but one sibling wasn't here. They had to get him from somewhere, and there was a passport issue, and the grandparents were here for a bar mitzvah, and obviously bar mitzvah was canceled. long story short, the Levaya was Sunday, and then the charity campaign started. And I literally watched a family that I was close to, that I knew to be such a respectable family, literally get, plastered all over. Pictures, every website, every click. And I told my wife, I said, it's done. It's over. We have to do something about it. And right then and there, I think it was March 21st, 2025, is when this initiative started. That's, as far as I'm concerned, that's where it started. And we did a lot since then.
Yeah.
But that's how it started.
That's when B'Sefer Chayim, that's the name.
Correct.
Why B'Sefer Chayim?
So the initiative was Lo Nishmas, my mother, who passed away 5 years ago. She was 63. She passed away very suddenly. She had a heart attack. And she was an exceptional woman. She was an amazing woman. She loved life. And originally, I wanted to name the organization after her. Zichra Mendel. Her name was Mindy. And when I thought of this idea, I was discussing it with my brother. And he said, listen, I think it's a great thing, but if you name it Zichra Mendel, people are going to second guess what is it. And then you have to explain to people what it is. And he throws out B'Sefer Chayim. And I'm like, okay, I hear the direction, but so we slept on it. And I woke up in the morning, and I'm very impulsive like that. And I said, B'Sefer Chayim, that's it. It was Sandy's idea. It was my brother's idea. And we're going to run with it. And we're going to brand around B'Sefer Chayim. And B'Sefer Chayim means life. And my mother was, in 63 years, she accomplished more than a lot of people did in 100 years. So she loved life. So B'Sefer Chayim is a great memory for her. And it's a great name for the organization because it's pretty self-understood what it is.
So, I think this is something that we've been seeing so much of lately, and it's so scary, and it touched my family personally as well. As my sister lost her husband a few years ago, and when someone goes into a house like that, a shiva house, and there's kids, and there's small kids, and there's the wife, the widow is young. The last thing you want to think about is, wait, who's paying the mortgage tomorrow? How about the groceries? What about tuition? What about these bills? There's so much else going on. Like visceral pain, that money seems like such a trivial thing to be stuck with. And thank God my brother-in-law had life insurance. And it saved my sister and her family. It did. It saved them. And your initiative, and I'm going to have you explain it. The reason why I wanted to bring you on to talk about it, it's like not something we do every day. There's a million organizations, but this I felt is so unique because this is so simple. It's so simple to just solve, to make sure that won't be you. Your family should be taken care of, and you should have a richas yam, and everyone should be healthy. But to think about your family, just take a few minutes. I know I've spoken to some friends, and I said, you have life insurance. Maybe someone would say, if something happened to me, my parents would take care of it. And it's such a maddening thing to hear. So tell me a little bit about what B'Sefer Chayim's goal is, what its mission is, and how you've been accomplishing it over, I guess it's just 4 weeks. So it's really, my hope is that people are going to hear about this and it's going to go worldwide, but let's talk about it.
So first of all, your sister is a hero because one of the things that we were tasked to do as an agency, when March 21st is when we decided this idea was happening. And then I said, okay, I have an idea. Now, how do I take it to the next level? So I reached out to a bunch of people, and everyone had different ideas. And I knew I needed a marketing company. So I spoke to 3 different marketing companies, and I felt like all three just took notes. No one was excited. No one shared the passion until I spoke to a very good friend of mine. His name is Moshe Schindler from Mint Media. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, of course. Good
So
people.
Moshe and I went to yeshiva, and we stayed in touch. And I said, Moshe, you deal with all these organizations. And he said to me, you need to talk to Shaly Kaufman. She's going to take this to the next level. So we connected right away and we hit it off. And one of the things that she tasked me with from day one, because she said it's going to take time to get, is you need to get videos of people that had a positive experience. Listen, it's never positive. There's no such thing as a positive. But there's definitely a much more negative feeling. So you need to get videos of people that had lost a loved one and they had life insurance and how it impacted them in a positive way. So credit to my wife. My wife is very much with me in this initiative. Besides the fact that she's dealing with these new crazy hours of mine, it's nonstop. I mean, Rabbanim somehow can only meet at 11 o'clock at night, and yeshivas can only meet on July 4th when the weather's beautiful, and I'm usually at the pool. But my wife went on a journey to get this video from your sister. And for your sister to come out and put her story out there in that kind of way, her, Shayna Karen, Sandy Kiss, Chaim Zahler are all heroes. So I'm just putting it out there. So, because you mentioned your sister. As far as B'Sefer Chayim, the vision, what we're thinking, just so you understand, why doesn't a person have life insurance? It's a very good question. If you asked me, first of all, before I continue, I just want to say, for your viewers, I'm not a broker and I don't give any financial advice. Any opinions or advice that you hear here today are my own. I take no responsibility. Please consult with your local life insurance or financial professional.
It's also worth noting that this is not something that you're doing to profit. You're not a life insurance broker. You're not trying to drum up business.
Correct. But I have a disclaimer on my website, and it was done by a friend of mine who's a big-time attorney, because you want to protect yourself. So I'm just getting it out there. Why doesn't a person have life insurance? According to me, again, personal opinion, life insurance is the most important insurance you can have. I think it's much more important than health insurance, and I'll explain to you why. We live in the greatest country in the world, arguably, second to Israel. We live in a Medina Shel Chesed. If Chas v'shalom, anyone gets into a car accident, you're never going to hear of a case where they don't take that person to the hospital because he doesn't have health insurance. You're never going to hear the case where they don't try their most to save that person's life, right? Now, maybe the hospital will come after the person afterwards for money, but it's a long process. No one's locking that person up, right? And there's 1,000 organizations that can help with this person if he has a bill. Life insurance, at the end of the day, you pass away or someone passes away, it's good luck to your family, okay? So to me, this is the most important insurance possible. So we started doing research, literally grassroots, asking people, right? I was of the opinion that a lot of people don't have it. People argued with me. People said I'm crazy, right? And I'm like, no, I'm telling you people don't have it. But why don't people have it, right? It's something that's never discussed. I don't know why. I got married. No one discussed it with me. People assumed you're going to have a kid and that pushy life insurance broker is going to call you.
Yeah,
right?
Message you on LinkedIn.
Exactly. He's going to harass you. Then he's going to come to your office. He's going to come with a stack of papers high. He's going to explain to you how buying a whole life policy is going to look in 20 years from now. You don't understand the word he says, and you send them flying, right? Never mentions the word term. Now, it's important for people to understand why. If someone sells you a term life insurance policy, let's say $600 a year premium, right? $50 a month, $40 a month, whatever it is. The broker is making a year on that policy. So he's making $400 plus there's fees, right? So people should understand that life insurance brokers that are selling term life insurance are not making a lot of money. And that's another reason when we started our initiative, we made it very clear, because every person I say, they're like, oh, you should totally get referrals back from the brokers you send cases to, right? And I tell people all the time, the second I take money from the insurance business, I may as well be out of business. It delegitimizes the whole effort.
Yeah.
And number two, let the guy make his money. It's an application. It's a follow-up. It's a whole process, right? So let the guy make his money. He makes his money. He's treating the client right. right? I'm doing what I need to do, and the guy's getting his insurance. Everybody wins. So we started doing research on why people don't have life insurance. And there was no answer. There wasn't like an answer where they don't think it's important or they don't think it's, necessary. There was just, I don't know. I'm smoking. I'm going to wait a week to finish and it'll go out of my system and then I'll take the test. Oh, really? So if you get into a lot of accidents, does that mean you don't need car insurance? No, everybody knows they need car insurance. It's a law, right? You'll lose your registration if you don't have car insurance. Could you imagine if everybody was driving around without car insurance? So we found that it's a lack of awareness. Again, I'm talking about on a grand scale. Obviously, there's always exceptions. There's always that person with a pre-existing condition that can't get a life insurance because it's too expensive. Yes, but I'm talking about on a large scale. You have average 35-year-old guys that are walking around that don't have life insurance. They have 3-4 kids. Why? It was never discussed. After 2 years of marriage, that father or mother doesn't want to bring it up to the kid. I get this a lot. I asked a guy last week, did you speak to your 10 employees if they have life insurance? He tells me, Shmulie, we have to draw a line between church and state. So I said to him, that's fine. But if God forbid one of the guys passes away on the job, right? It's a property management company. I said, the guy's in the Bronx and God forbid something happens to him. I can give you 10 things that could happen to him in the Bronx because I work in the Bronx. Do you think that family is going to hesitate for 1 second not to come to you for a $25,000 check? Or they're also going to say, we're separating the line between church and state. I'm like, I'm protecting you. Forget the guy and forget his family. What about you? Do you want to pay out? Do you want to deal with the tragedy? I'm like, you have the uncomfortable conversation now. It takes 5 minutes, right? So we found that parents come 2 years after the wedding, do not want to have that conversation with their children. Parents feel like anything is overstepping with married kids. It's a very uncomfortable thing. Where are you going to be for Pesach? Where you sending your kids to yeshiva? Where do you daven? Oh, you're davening in that shul now? What time do you go to shul, right? Nobody wants to butt into their married kids' business. And less. Now, I also found the problem is that because you're not having that conversation with your children, and we're living in a world where parents give, and this is not I'm not here to talk about financial responsibility.
Right.
You interviewed Rabbi Joey Haber the other week, which by the way was an unbelievable podcast.
Thank you.
But, he talked about the cost of living in different communities. I don't think there's a real solution for it. To be honest with you, the only solution I think is personal responsibility. I think that when I was a kid, we grew up, there were rich kids, there were not rich kids. I think people need to look in the mirror and take their own responsibility in their life.
Yeah.
I think you could blame everybody. People love blaming everybody. Let's blame the rabbanim. Let's blame the schools. Let's blame the meat board guy selling the meat board or the fish board guy. It's not their fault. This is America. It's a democracy. We're capitalists. The guy can sell whatever he wants, and we have an option to buy it. But parents today are giving their children so much after the wedding. I got married 13 years ago. My in-laws moved me into an apartment. They put my father-in-law with his own 2 hands, put me in 2 window air conditioners on East 17th Street. I got rent and security, and then it was shalom, shalom. That was it. I had the bills. I had my life. I was working, okay, but we got much less. No one asked me if I had health insurance. I had to get health insurance, right? Parents today are giving their kids so much. The fact is, this is a fact. It doesn't matter. It's undisputable that when the kids come back from Israel or wherever they are, they do not know what responsibility means. And it doesn't matter if they have 2 kids at the time. They just don't know it. I'm talking about it on a large scale. So the fact is that couple is not getting life insurance. It's not part of the plan. It was
never
never
a thought.
Right. It was never a thought. Exactly.
Well, it's because it's not paying for anything else.
Right. But it's not a money thing, right? It's not, I can't afford it, or my parents paying for everything else can't afford it. It's not a thought. So the guy's 27. Before you know it, he's 30. Still not thinking about it. Before you know it, he's 40. And then when he's finally thinking about it, premiums are much higher. So we realized it's an awareness issue. It's strictly an awareness issue, by and large. So we decided to come up with an awareness campaign. That's it. Ads, posters, good old word of mouth, grassroots. And it's working. It's working. It's been 4 weeks. I've never imagined it would be on that scale. I've also never imagined how many 45-year-olds are coming to us with no insurance. It's pretty scary. 51-year-olds. So in a nutshell, we're raising awareness. That's all we're doing. Because I think that's all I think that's all that needs to be done right now.
Yeah. My friends, the time has come. We are coming out with a Meaningful Minute original documentary, a feature film, part of this whole Meaningful Minute Plus launch, which you're going to hear a lot more about probably next week. But our first ever feature film, Homeless. We wandered, we wept, now we return. Here is the trailer. So go ahead, grab your Blooms snacks, those goodies from Blooms, because we love Blooms, and listen and watch this. We have so much here. Where are you guys based off?
I was in Punta Cana.
Of Cabo. Is that Gullis?
No, but
not at all.
we don't know what we're missing out on. It really is, but we just don't know it.
I want the Gula, but we do have a lot. Is Gullis supposed to be like this? We've invested billions into living in America. Will we have to leave that all behind? And if we're in Gullis, then what do we make of the comfort, luxury, the routines? If exile is supposed to be so bad, why does this feel so normal? Shouldn't something about all this make us very uneasy? I'm on a mission right now. What Gullis is. A lot of nice things here. What's our Gullis?
You're not allowed to build big houses in Gullis.
We can't really be comfortable.
What do you think is the worst tragedy that can befall this bungalow colony? I'll tell you, Mashiach coming.
Hope you enjoyed that. Yes, that's going to be available very, very soon, July 26th. This is dropping everywhere. Actually not, only on Meaningful Minute Plus. And you will see that URL. You'll see the website very, very soon. It'll be everywhere. You're going to see magazine ads. You're going to see newspaper ads. You're going to see digital ads. You will hear about it. But Homeless, new film coming to you. So stay tuned. If you're hurt or find yourself in an accident, which let's be real, it happens more than we like it, you need the right lawyer on your side. That's when you call the Rothenberg Law Firm. For over 55 years, they've been a cornerstone in our community, helping people just like you. They've won and collected billions of dollars for their clients. And the best part, if they don't win, you don't pay. When you choose Rothenberg, you're not just getting a lawyer, you're getting a trusted friend who treats you like family. They understand that a personal injury can turn your life upside down. So they go well beyond just legal representation. They will make sure your medical bills are paid by the appropriate parties and that your family is taken care of during this rough time. Everybody knows Rothenberg, so you know they're the name you can trust. So if you ever find yourself needing legal help, remember to head to injurylawyer.com or call them 1-800-624-8888 for a free case evaluation. Make sure to keep the Rothenberg Law Firm on speed dial because not every injury lawyer has the resources to stand up to the big corporations and insurance companies. They've been fighting the good fight for over 5 decades and they are not slowing down. I hope you never need them, but if you do, the Rothenberg family is there for you. This episode is also sponsored by my friends at La Lechet. La Lechet. Traveling around the world is not always so simple because you have different needs. As a from Jew, whether it's dietary, whether it's Yom Tovim, Shabbosim, La Lechet can take care of all of that for you because they understand what you need. They understand your needs. LaLechet.com. You want to plan a trip anywhere in the world? Australia, South Africa, Israel, Rome, Karastir. Plan your trip with LaLechet.com and they have you covered from A to Z. Where you're going to stay, how you're going to fly, who's going to show you the place. I don't know, who maybe in babysitting your kids they can help. I don't know. They can do anything for you. LaLechet.com. That is LaLechet.com. They have this thing also called LaLechet Select where they have current trips that are happening and you can join those trips. You can be part of those trips. So go to the website right now, LaLechet.com. Join a trip or start a trip. But one thing is for sure, use LaLechet.com.
And for those who don't know life insurance, it is what it sounds like. If Chas Shalom, there's someone, a spouse who passes away, the insurance company, if you have a good policy, will give the family a check for a large sum of money to get them through that period and potentially many, many, many years after that. And a family who doesn't have that, you're seeing a lot of these charity campaigns, a lot of these chesed fund campaigns. And I think something that I've seen you say, and this is brilliant, is like the tens of millions, if not by now hundreds of millions of dollars that we've poured into these charity campaigns and chesed fund campaigns, and rightfully so, because these families unfortunately do need the funds. If we spend not even, I don't know, like 2% of that on helping people get policies, you're freeing up hundreds of millions of dollars in tzedakah.
It's I could tell you like this. First of all, there's no price in the world on what a family goes through. You know, a couple of days ago, I was watching one of your, I think it's called The Daily Thread
Yeah.
with your father.
Yeah.
And you said that, or Shmuel Kamenetsky said that people shouldn't give to those campaigns, right? That they plaster the,
Did I say that?
you said that 3 years ago. Now, I'm not saying
Maybe.
that.
Maybe it was a long time ago.
It's on a podcast. It's on a thing.
If it's out there, it's out there.
Now, obviously, we're not saying that it shouldn't give, but the point is that the embarrassment that the families go through during these campaigns, they're literally approached during Shiva and they're told, and I know this firsthand, that you have 3 days to set up the campaign. Otherwise, every day after, people are not plugged in anymore. They're not giving money, right? These campaigns, first of all, and I'm going to speak about it, and I'm not here to you know, when I started this, I right away, as you jump into the trenches of a little work for the klal, you start seeing the good and you start seeing the not so good. But I made it a promise, a campaign promise, that I'm not speaking negatively about anything. Before this, I used to. Before Daf and Shul, used to have 5 minutes. We used to pick topic of the day, what to talk about. But it's never going to have any atzlacha if we talk about our campaign by bashing another. But the reality is that people should know, okay? Campaign managers are making between $8,000 and $10,000 on each campaign, okay? So whether the person is running a campaign for a school, or whether for a shul, or whether for a yasaim, it's the same work, right? So they're getting paid. There's 3% credit card processing fees. And then there's the advertising, okay? I know of a campaign that raised about $750,000, 40 grand went for advertising. So at the end, maybe under 700 was left in the account. It's overseen by, it's in a trust. The almana can't access the funds. It's overseen by a rav. They get like a set amount that they get. And anytime they want anything extra, they got to come to the rav. It is the most embarrassing, hurtful way. Unfortunately, what are you supposed to do? Right? Klal Yisrael donated money knowing that it's being overseen by a rav. But it's so embarrassing for the family. It's a pachad. Someone told me yesterday, he runs a big organization for Yisraelim. He told me the therapy, right? Think about it. If God forbid someone passes away and a spouse was very ill for a long time, most likely that home was not a functional home for a long time. If someone passes away suddenly, there's a lot of trauma for the children. There's always therapy, a lot of it. Someone told me yesterday, people think $1 million for a family of 5 is not enough. And yes, I'm going to tell you it's not enough, right? That's not the point. Right, yeah. It's not enough, but I'll tell you what it is. It's enough for 3 years for that family to get back on a normal track without having to go through all the embarrassment of a campaign, to pay for therapy, to pay for clothing, to pay for tuition, to pay for a mortgage, without worrying, are you going to have your lights shut off? That's the reality. A lot could happen in 3 years. You're in a much healthier place, right? Now, obviously, our campaign is geared towards couples getting it at marriage at a young age when it's very, very inexpensive. $25 a month. A chassan can get a term life insurance policy for up to $1 million. Most of the times without blood work for most companies. If you add $250,000, $500,000 every time you have a kid, at 35 years old, have yourself a nice $3 million policy. It's costing you $150 a month, but you've been paying in for years and you've been adding, right? Guy has a car, he's paying $500. Prices went up, right? During COVID, prices went nuts. Do you see anybody not driving a car? People got used to it.
People don't want to think about this because it's a very like depressing part of life, death. It's nobody wants to think about it. I think it's like farm. Nobody wants to think about farm, but we're seeing that if you don't think about it, it's like, listen, at the end of the day, at the other side of all these campaigns that people see, and there's no shortage, unfortunately, there is a family that's not just suffering the loss of a loved one, they're suffering the embarrassment of now becoming a a chess piece in a marketing campaign to raise money, which they need. It's not like they can say, "Oh, I don't want to do it." How are they going to pay for anything, right? Like, this is the reality.
There's a guy in Lakewood. He's a very big askin. He's a big tzaddik. He does a lot of raising and a lot of these campaigns. He told me when I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago for the first time, I told him what I'm doing. He said to me, when someone passes away today, a lot of times the first thing he gets is, oh my God, am I going to be the next kid on a poster? That's the first thing that comes out of the kid's mouth. The kids know exactly what's going on. They go on the bus. They know, they hear. The kids are really smart. They see what's going on in the world. And it's real trauma. It's real problems. And I think that my real audience, to be honest with you, and that's why I think it's so necessary that I came here today, is not so much the person. You know, we're so used to selling. We're selling a guy a car. We're selling him a watch. We're selling him. It's either I decide to buy it or not. But you're really not selling the person that has the policy. We really have to penetrate the ears and hearts of the women in Klal Yisrael. Because by and large, the men are the breadwinners in our societies. Obviously, there's exceptions. But if women would understand what other women go through if there's no money when the husband dies, we can't avoid the tragedy. It's bashert. It's from Shemayim. This is what Hashem is nigzer on Rosh Hashanah. But we can plan responsibly. If a woman would know what it means to not have money, in addition to all the other problems that they face, they would drive their husbands nuts to get that life insurance. And they would put it on the checklist for every single married couple that they're marrying off to get life insurance. So that's really who we're trying to speak to.
Why isn't, this might be something that you're working on, why aren't Rabbanim saying, hey, we're going to be Masada Kedushin by your wedding, but you need to have life insurance in order for us to sign this ksuba? It's like a simple $25 a month. You have a life insurance. I'm happy with Masada Kedushin, but you need to do this just to be safe, just to be prepared. We do Dar Yisharim, like we do genetic testing, right, to be safe. Why is this not the same?
It's funny, Dar Yisharim was a crisis.
Yeah.
Dar Yisharim was a huge crisis, and now it's not a crisis. Not just it's not a crisis, it's part of the program. Whoever thinks twice about not getting Dar, it's not negotiable. You need Dar Yisharim.
People aren't dating. If you're dating, like I want your Dar Yisharim, and if you say, oh, I don't do that, you're likely not going to continue dating with that person.
I know a lot of yeshivas will not marry off a couple without a marriage license. My yeshiva wouldn't. It's a very good question. I will tell you that the first week of this initiative, we spoke to a lot of Rabbanim. I called Rav after Rav after Rav. A lot of Rabbanim don't have life insurance. A lot of Rabbanim's children don't have life insurance. They have no idea how it works themselves. There's a Rav that spoke about it on Shabbos. A lot of Rabbanim were very helpful. Some Rabbanim didn't want to speak about it. And there was a Rav that spoke about it. And somebody in the shul went over to him and said, does the Rav have life insurance? After he spoke about it. And he said, yeah, I do. He said, what about the Rav's married kids? He says, I have no idea. He says, we need to call the Rav's married children. We need to make sure that they get a policy, right? So to answer your question, somehow our first feeling is always to run. Why aren't the Rabbanim doing this? Why aren't the Rabbanim doing that? The Rabbanim, you should just know, if I'm speaking to a lot of good Rabbanim the last few weeks, they just want to learn. They want to be there for their members. There are some really, really, really special Rabbanim. Here in Muncie, there are some top-notch Rabbanim that care so deeply about their kehillas. But at the end of the day, it's the parents' obligation. I mean, think about it. Rabbi Center spoke once. I forgot where he spoke. And he said over a story from Reb Shai Cohen from Priority One. Mm-hmm. And he was once speaking in his shul. And I forgot the whole story, but the punchline of the story was where everybody runs, why doesn't the yeshiva do this? Why doesn't the Rav do that? Why doesn't the yeshiva do that? A Rebbe has I don't know, 25 kids in a class times how many years, right? So he has hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of kids go through the system all the years. Same thing for a yeshiva. What do we have? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids, right? So it's on us to really educate our children. I call this a campaign for the people. A Rav can get up. Now, the Arabanim, there's a Rav here in Monsey that has a list in his shul of exactly who has and who doesn't have life insurance. He's been working on it for a long time. But again, he's going after all the guys in the shul that are already in their 40s. He's dealing with a problem that's so big at this point.
It's like a ticking time bomb.
Right. And all these guys have an issue. And by the way, what we consider a non-issue that is treatable and livable, like Crohn's disease, right? People could live with Crohn's for years. We all know someone with Crohn's. Diabetes, right? All those issues, right? But the life insurance company underwrites it completely differently. So they're going to give you a premium that's 5 or 10 times the amount versus when you didn't, right? So you have a Rav in a shul that makes a passionate speech, and then he finds out that there's 10 45-year-olds or 50-year-olds that don't have life insurance with 8 kids, right? Where does he go first? He's a Rav.
Yeah.
What's he supposed to do? He's not a life insurance company, so he pushes them to get out Ravim, which works if somebody has a large family because they pay per kid. But long story short, the Rabbanim are not equipped to deal with this.
It's already very late at that point because the real chaval is what happened 20 years prior.
Quick word for my friends at Town Appliance. Some of you have messaged me. Yeah, you, Ari. I know you messaged me. You're like, I was dreaming about a Weber grill because of your ad read last week. Well, let me tell you something. That wasn't an ad read. That's a way of life. I actually sometimes dream of Weber grills, but not just any Weber grill. A Weber grill that I get on townappliance.com because that's the place you get at the best price. You know, summer savings are beginning. The grill season is kicking off and you want to make sure you are covered. Yeah, that grill that's been sitting in your backyard since 2007. The food that you're making isn't bad. I think it's the grill. You're Jewish. You're a chef. You know how to smoke meat. You live in Tom's River. Of course you know how to smoke meat. Well, maybe it's the grill. Blame the equipment. So go to townappliance.com. Get the perfect equipment that you need, whether it's inside your kitchen, whether you're doing a new construction or you're just trying to get a new outdoor situation. Maybe some furniture, maybe a grill, maybe some kitchen appliances. The food ain't bad. The grill is. Get a new one. Townappliance.com. We'll be right back to this episode. A quick word, my friends, at NRS Pay. You know, if you own a business, you understand that most people are paying with credit card nowadays. And the one thing as a business owner that you don't want to deal with are those hidden fees. You know, shady stuff goes on in this industry and you don't want any part of that. No hidden fees, no long-term contracts, no early termination fees. Work with NRS Pay. I personally know them. They're an honest, reputable company in this industry. Whether you choose their clean rate or cash discount plan, they will take care of you. No shenanigans, no hidden fees, no long-term contracts. You don't have to worry about that stuff when you're working with NRS Pay. So right now, head to their website, nrspay.com. That is nrspay.com. Hit the link in the show notes below. Oh, also, you need cash for your business, whether it's $2,500 or $500,000, NRS funding can help you with that. It all starts by going to nrspay.com. That is nrspay.com.
So you're saying it's the parents that need to be thinking about their married kids and making sure all their married kids have life insurance.
Who else? It's who is the responsibility going to fall on chas v'shalom if something happens to a young child and the parents are in their 60s? Who do you think is footing the bill? Who do you think they're going to come to? So answer that question yourself. So at the end of the day, I'll tell you something. It's amazing. Klal Yisrael is the most amazing nation. We have organizations for everything. Everything. But they all serve one thing. They're here for a problem. Think about it. I didn't have kids for 3 years, right? B'nai Olam. It's an amazing organization. Originally, B'nai Olam was founded to help people navigate the system. I don't think it was founded to offer financial support. They didn't have money. Shlomo Bachner, who I went to the mountains with, was a man on a mission, right? He never had children. It's public. And he wanted people to have resources. So he was there for resources. And then he found that it's so expensive, right? So he went and over the years, it grew, right? I had a call today with somebody an hour, 2 hours ago. He was telling me, you need to have a real plan and how you're going to monetize and how you're going to make sure that everyone gets insurance. I'm like, do you think anybody that started something good had a plan mapped out 2 years in advance? They would have never started it. If I was able to sit here with clarity and tell you, this is how I'm going to get every person in Klal Yisrael insurance, And then you're going to look at me, you're going to say, you're out of your mind. It's going to cost you too much. And I'm going to say, I'm not starting it then. No, I'm going to get to whoever I can get to. And then more and more people will hear about it and they'll help me. And we'll get to phase 2 and phase 3. At the end of the day, every organization that we have is here to help. But Alan Rosenstock from Tamch Shabbos once spoke in a shul. I mean, Monsey people know that there's no bigger tzaddik in Monsey than Alan Rosenstock. And this is years ago. And he says, I don't want to give money to people. I want to get them a job. I want to get them on their own 2 feet. But then after a few years, he stopped talking about it. It's just not a popular thing. People love giving money to organizations, right, that make them feel good. I helped this person. And it's a beautiful thing. You did help that person. And that person needed your help, right? I get an email 3 days into B'Sefer Chayim's launch. Hi, my name is so-and-so. I heard about what you're doing from so-and-so. I think it's amazing. I want to pay for 10 premiums up to $500 a person. That's $5,000. That's beautiful, right? Now, first of all, who's going to come to me and tell me they can't afford $50 a month, right? Nobody knows me, right? Second of all, what about year 2 and year 3, right? There's a famous story. A guy came to his Rav. The Hasidim say it's their story. The Litvishers say it's their story. I'm just going to say it's a story. Someone came to a Rav and he said, am I allowed to be Yaitzi Arba cases on milk? And the Rav called his Gabbai and said, go to the guy's house and make sure he has everything else for Pesach. Because if he can't afford wine, he can't afford anything else. So I tell the guy, it's very nice you offered me $5,000. I tell the guy, do you know how much it costed us to launch? Right? No one ever thinks about, let's give money for the preventive measures. Right? So this is something we're trying to fix for the next 10 years. If every couple got insurance when they got married and parents taught their children responsibility, then they would keep adding when they have children. And on every policy, you can put on, your agent gets notified if you lapse, or it's called grace, if you have 30 days to pay if you don't make a payment. And then there's always a family member you could add. Right? If I got an email that a brother-in-law or a brother was in grace, I would be all over it, right? For $50 a month. Not even a question, right? So I think that's really what we need to be doing. Rabbanim, there's a shul in Flatbush that went to every person and drove them crazy. They have to get life insurance. They had a gabbai. People didn't want to talk to the gabbai. People only wanted to speak to the Rav. How much time do you think the Rav has? And by the way, a lot of these Rabbanim have large families. So there's only a certain amount they can do. But I do agree with you. I think that more has to be done on the larger scale. Schools are a big factor. We did it here in Monsey with Yeshiva Spring Valley. They came out with an endorsement. We're working on other schools. Schools can get us to a lot of parents. They also show parents that they care. It's a very important thing as well. But really, this is a campaign for the people. We need to connect with people one-on-one on a human level. They should understand what the repercussions are if Chas v'Shalom was not there.
Is there, for someone who says they can't afford it, they can't pay the policy, but does B'Sefer Chayim, what do they advise?
So B'Sefer Chayim right now, you're looking at B'Sefer Chayim, by the way. This is the whole B'Sefer Chayim, just so you understand. So when I speak to shuls and Rabbanim, and I got this idea from a Rav here in Haverstraw, very wonderful Rav. He said to me, he's like, we're raising $140,000 a year in Haverstraw for Pesach and Purim, right? Let's say the 2 main fundraisers, Kimcha the Pesach, and he's like, we could raise another few $1,000s to help people with premiums, right? If only those people would take that step and be responsible and know that we need it, right? But we, as much as we like to believe, and I may be unpopular for this comment, but it is what it is. Hasidim have the ability to make things mandatory very easily. Hasidim, if you know the way it works, there's a Rebbe, let's say 2,000 families in the Chassidus, there's a yeshiva, there's a shul, there's a bungalow colony, there's a camp. Everything is run under that umbrella. So, for example, if there's rules in that masjid, right, and you're not keeping to the rules, your whole way of life could be in jeopardy, right? We don't have that. We live community by community, block by block, family by family. The word community or the word Klal Yisrael, it's a beautiful word, but what does that really mean? Just look at the charity campaigns. If you're connected to the right people, you'll raise money. If you're somebody in Brooklyn that knows nobody, you're going to raise 50 grand. And that's all going to be online from people that actually feel bad. We have to start doing things more on a community by community level. It's a real grassroots. That's the only way. If you want to pay for people's premiums, it's got to be done locally. Like somebody gave me an idea of what if shuls do like a buddy system? Like what if Ruvain pays Shimon's premium? Right? I believe in a shul of 50, 60 people. You'd be hard pressed to find 3 people that really can't afford it. I don't believe it. I'd be shocked. I mean, I'm in the restaurants every day. People are dropping $30, $40 on lunch. So you're telling me that guy can't pay for an insurance premium? What's more important, right?
Yeah.
So maybe he doesn't understand it, but his wife should understand it. And if people think that people don't pass away, a 36-year-old woman just passed away in Brooklyn. Right? She was diagnosed a couple of years ago and she's gone. It happens. It's happening. Klal Yisrael is multiplying by the minute. I mean, since I'm a kid, I think we're probably 8 or 10 times the size. I spoke to a guy yesterday. He runs a big organization via Simon. He told me, we're adding hundreds of Yisayim a year. This is the fact. And even if 10% of people don't have life insurance, the 90% can't afford to subsidize the 10%. They just can't afford it. Every time you're going to raise $1 million in a week, go ask a real estate guy what it takes to raise $1 million in a week in today's market. It can't be done.
And we've seen a lot of these campaigns have been slowing down in terms of what they're able to raise. And this is just the way, this is the solution really. Like you said, Hashem controls who lives and who dies. That's not something in our control at all. Everyone should be safe, live and be healthy. But this is very much for listeners and viewers. This is in your hands. If you're watching this and you do not have life insurance, I know everyone thinks that can't happen to me. It's not going to happen to me. You're healthy, and Emir Hashem, it won't happen to you. Emir Hashem, right?
Amen.
But what do you say?
I could tell you that we are focusing a very positive campaign. This is one thing that Shaly Kaufman was very adamant on. There were different ways of approaching this. There was, let's put on the posters with the kids crying and how tough it is. And Shaly Kaufman said, absolutely not. People are tired of the negative messaging. You could watch a podcast and it's amazing and it's great, but you could also watch 2 hours of every problem that we have with no real solutions.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, there's a solution here, right?
Yeah.
There is a solution.
As you're watching this, it could be done. Solved.
There's a solution. I could tell you, when I went to Yeshiva Spring Valley the first time, I'll never forget, my friend who lost his brother-in-law, by the way, okay, that's when I started B'Sefer Chayim. He is the biggest fan of what we're doing. You know, people are very good. I spoke to a Rav in Muncie to speak about it in a shul, and he told me, I can't really speak about it because there's an almana in the shul. The husband didn't have life insurance. I said, don't you think that almana may want you to help so many other potential people? But the Rav was being mindful, and I respect that. So my friend walked me into, we set up a meeting with the Dean of Yeshiva Spring Valley. And we were talking to Rabbi Grossbart. It was my first meeting, and all I had was our little cards for B'Sefer Chayim. I had no marketing, and I had nothing, and I was sweating. I didn't know what I was saying. I was all over the place. I was talking about couples, and I was talking about older people, and I was talking about the problems, and I had no data, and I was schwitzing away. So he calms me down, and he goes, so what's the ask from the yeshiva? So we right there figured out an ask. And at the end of the whole meeting, he says to me, I just want to tell you, he said, if you would have told me how easy it was and cheap it was to get my couple insurance when they got married because I had no idea. I would have rather gotten them a policy than pay for their cell phone. And I said to him, oh my God, that is some line, right? And now I've spoken a few places already. And my first question is, how many people here have married children and how many people pay for their kids' cell phone bills? And everybody picks up their hands. And that line resonated with me to such an extent. Because if you get $1 million when you get married and you add responsibly, it just becomes a part of life. It's not, we can't do this. There is a solution. Let companies like Mass Mutual and Guardian and Penn Mutual, let them shoulder the burden. Klal Yisrael could have a lot of money for other things. The amount that's stuck that's going to be given is going to be given. But the pain of the almanas is so much bigger than the amount of money that Klal Yisrael is giving to these campaigns. It's not even a question.
We'll be right back to this episode in just a second. I want to let you know that right now, there are soldiers in the front lines of Eretz Yisrael that are protecting all of us. No matter where you are in the world, they're protecting the Torah and the Kedusha and the physical lives in Eretz Yisrael. And people who are supporting them, 2 people were in my living room last week, and they were telling me about the Magain Fund. And I want to show you something. This is a bag that they give out to soldiers, okay? Soldiers who join the force. This is the Israel Magain Fund bag. This is a care package. They go to the army. You know, you'd be surprised. You'd think they get everything they need. They don't get everything they need. And it's up to organizations like this to provide them with what they need. Simple stuff. Let's first of all talk about the spirituality. Siddur, tzitzis. Important. They go to battle. They should have those things. And some smaller things, you know, a t-shirt, a shower bag. Yeah, these are the things that they're not given. And these things make a huge difference. But most of all, no matter what's inside this bag or not, and this bag is great, happens to be, the hug that you're giving these soldiers when you sponsor this, when you adopt a soldier. For $180, you can make sure a soldier receives a bag like this with a letter in the bag from you. And you get the name of that soldier that you're adopting, that you're sponsoring, and you will daven for them. The Meaningful Life community is trying to get 500 adopted soldiers. So right now, hit the link in the show notes, israelmaginfund.org. Adopt a soldier with me. More than anything that's in that bag, and let me tell you, it's packed with goodies. The hug you're going to give these soldiers, the care package you're going to give them in here, it supersedes everything. So go ahead and adopt a soldier today. If you're a kid and you wanted a chance to be featured on TVito, well, now is your chance. It's ending in just a couple days, but you could submit a video and the top 10 videos will be featured on TVito, TVito by Kids, happening right now. But first, you need to head to TVito.com. Make sure to make an account. Use promo code MM10. You'll save some money and your kids are going to have a fantastic time. I know everyone's been enjoying their Friday or Shabbos live streams on TVito, and the content they've been uploading constantly every week keeps getting better and better and better. But this one is for the kids, guys. Listen, you guys in the back seat right now. Well, if you're listening to a life insurance episode, it's kind of bleak. But if I'm in your parents' ears right now, dude, get your kid hooked on TVito. It's a great website. It's fun for the kids. Use promo code MM10, 10% off your purchase, your subscription, and your kids will be featured on the website. So go ahead, check it out, and enjoy. Back to this episode.
Let me ask you, how, in these 4 weeks since you started, do you have a number of how many people you've been able to convert into actually getting life insurance?
Yes, unfortunately, I do. It's much bigger than I thought, honestly. The first question I got when I started this, you see, the nice part about starting something on your own is that you really don't have to answer to people.
Yeah.
So when you go to people, you ask them for money. People have a right to ask, what are you using the money for? Is it a good investment? Is it not? I didn't care. So I just said, I'm doing it with or without anybody. But the big question was, in general, because all the overthinkers love to speculate, especially when it's not their thing. Everybody wants to know how I'm going to track success. And the true answer is, I don't know. I really went into this blindly. But we did create a system where forms are filled out on the website and they get dumped into a Google Sheet and we keep track. Through B'Sefer Chayim's website alone, to this day, what's today, Tuesday?
Yeah.
3.5 weeks since we launched the website. We launched our first ad 10 days ago. But 3.5 weeks, we had over 220 forms that were filled out on our website. And people between the ages of 25 to 51. 26 policies were signed. Now, just so you understand, there's a process. got to fill an application. People above 30, most will need blood work. They have to get a rating. They have to get approved. 26 policies signed. We have over 20 in underwriting now. And I can tell you personally, almost 100 people reached out to me personally that they took another look at their policies and they added $1 million or $2 million. So I say, if I had to close B'Sefer Chayim today, I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. I didn't dream in a million years it's going to be so big. But there's a big need for it. So we're seeing it every day. Every day we're getting 5 to 10 submissions. If I run an ad on a social media site, you're getting another 15 submissions. It's just nonstop. I just don't, I don't understand it because to me, this is part of my life, but this is very real. This is a very real issue.
I imagine you've been hearing a lot of stories of people who maybe didn't have, their spouse didn't have, and they're suffering from this, or to the contrary, people who their spouse did have, and how different that contrast is.
It's you can't even compare. I mean, just so you understand, because we touched on it before, but when someone has all they can focus on at the time of tragedy is being there for their family. That's all you can do. And there's great people and people come and they help. But if there's money, like, okay, so I have a friend, he did a video for us. It's on our website. His father died. He was 53. His father had life insurance. And I think they had 4 or 5 kids left at home. Word on the street wasn't that these are poor people and he's a yassam and he's going to have to do a less of a shidduch. No, he did. They had money and she married off her children, b'derech kavod, in the most respectable way possible. And okay, husband passed away. That's the way Hashem wanted it. But that doesn't mean now they're schleppers, right? And then you have people that don't. And there's a guy that told me, he runs a Karen, he told me that what happens is a lot of these almanas, unfortunately, they become so dependent on people that they don't know what to do if there's a bug problem at home. If they need an exterminator, right? So they're getting their money and they're basically, this is their, for lack of a better term, counselor. And every single time they need anything, they have to go to the Karen. It's truly unbelievable. You know, I heard an amazing line. When I went to one of the board members of Yeshiva Spring Valley here in Muncie to discuss this before we got the yeshiva on board, and he wasn't so sure about pushing an outside agenda on the yeshiva. And after we sat together for a half hour, he said to me, he said, I can't think of a better organization that you're starting that helps Almanas and Simon and Klal Yisrael. He's like, I need to be part of this. He goes, and he writes me a check. And I didn't even ask him. I said, I'm not fundraising. And he said, no. I want to be part of this. And the yeshiva is going to throw their full support behind you. I never thought of it that way, that what we're doing is saving future families. But that's the reality.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, like I said in the beginning, I have 4 nephews and a niece that their life is saved because of life insurance. And do you understand, though, through this process over the last few weeks, any understanding of how many people, if there's a percentage, don't have it? Now, let's say there's 100,000 people that are going to watch this episode. How many people are uninsured?
That's a very good question. It depends on the age. I could tell you that there's a Rav, I'm not going to say where, because it'll give it away, but there's a Rav in a very popular young shul that I must have spoken to 4 times leading up to the Shabbos. He was really unsure what to say, very probably because, you know, what we discussed before. The Rabbanim really don't know how to discuss this. It's a reality. And he was really not sure how to speak about it. He spoke about it. He spoke about it Friday night. he told me the line to speak to him, most of the people in the shul were under 30, but everyone has 2-3 kids. The line to speak to him was so big, asking him how much insurance they should get. He was so not prepared that he spoke about it again Shabbos day. He thought 50% of the shul was uninsured. But these people are under 30, right? I'm telling you, I was at a wedding last night. I mean, this is a real story. I was sitting at a wedding in the atrium. You know Nechemiah Zweig?
Yeah.
He did a video for us also.
Yeah, I saw.
Nechemiah Zweig's daughter got married. I was at the wedding. I was sitting with a friend of mine. And another young guy sat down. He has a kid. Now, I don't ask people, there's a guy in Brooklyn. I don't know if you heard of him. His name is Albert Kahn.
Yeah, of course.
So Albert,
I love it. He's been harassing me every time I see him. You need to talk about life insurance. You
and
need
wills.
to talk about life insurance and wills and estate planning and everything. You need to talk about life insurance. So Albert, this is it. We're doing it.
So Albert's a tzaddik. Albert, for years, when I started this, the first person I went to speak to was Albert Kahn. I sat down with him. First of all, he also does a lot of other chasadim, and we sat down. I told him what I want to do, and he said to me, Shmulie, whatever you need, I'm here. And Albert used to do that. He used to go from person to person to person to person, right? It's not my thing, right?
Yeah.
So I'll leave that to Albert. But we were sitting at this wedding, and a friend of mine asked this guy, probably he's married maybe 2 years, and he said to him, "Do you have life insurance?" He goes, "Oh, I never got around to it." That's the answer. And I'm telling you, the guy went home. Now, we gave him a card. And I told my friend, I'm like, it's not, it's not going to do much. Like, people get very combative like that. People don't want to be told what to do, right? It's the same thing with the immediate reaction of people. Shmulie, you should go to that guy in Kali Sol and that guy in Kali Sol, right? We're not going to mention names, but everybody knows who we're thinking. I'll tell you, he can get you the whole BMG and he can get you the whole this. And I'm like, first of all, it doesn't work that way. And second of all, people don't like being told what to do. You can't just boss everybody around. And by the way, my brother told me that in 2008, Ramatzio Solomon got up in yeshiva in B'Sefer Chayim and told everybody that they must have life insurance. He said it on a few occasions, and I confirmed it with his son-in-law. And I went through I went through an impossible story to get that audio. I had to track down people. I still can't get it. I have a USB. It has 180 shurim. I have to go through it. I don't have the time. But he said it. I went to Rabbi Chamalshin when I started this. I sat with him in his apartment, his house. He said life insurance is a great thing. Obviously, he won't sign a letter because all the Reshivas and BMG have to sign off on it. That's the way it is. But the more I started looking into it, the more I started saying this is a campaign for the people anyway. But it's a very large percentage. We have no idea. We have no idea how many. This is one of those things. It's like COVID. You just don't know who has that. Like, we don't know. But the only way to find out is by bringing the conversation to the forefront and discussing it. Like, it's not something that's off limits.
Yeah. People at home watching right now or listening, they're driving. What do you want them to do if they don't have life insurance?
If they know of a broker that their family has, please reach out to their broker. But before you do, close your eyes. Think of your children. Think of your wife. I do it all the time. I just added life insurance on myself. I added a few $1 million a term because I was having one of those moments. You close your eyes and you say, try to picture, if you're not here, how a shiva looks with a life insurance broker delivering a big fat check versus your children's pictures on every single website in Klal Yisrael. And every single one of your brothers and brother-in-laws posting a charity link on their status and schnorring. And even after that, what does it look like? I know somebody, his father had life insurance. He wanted to do a video for us. His father had $2 million of life insurance. There were 5 kids. Mother took $50,000 years ago for every single child put into the market. By the time they got married, they had over $100,000 for each child. Then, even 100 today you could marry. But, I mean, everyone got money for a house. I'm talking about, so that's the message. The message is, think of your family. Just think of them. if you're not here. Then
Well-
you'll know how to do the right thing.
Yeah. And they can go to the website. What's the website?
B'SeferChayim.org. Chaim with a Y, CHAYIM. B'SeferChayim.org. They could see what we're all about. We made it very easy and simple. They could fill out a form on our website. And, they could fill out a form. We get the submission. Somebody calls somebody back within 24 hours. And we try to help them and get life insurance. But if you have a broker, please go to your broker and let them sort you out. We're not here to make money. We're here for you to get life insurance. Try to be part of the solution.
Well, I hope, listen, this is one of those episodes that a lot of times people listen to this and it's a lot of things you could think about and you could discuss and you could just, it's in your head. Entertainment, ideas. This is one of those episodes that there is literally something that someone should do right now. And that is get life insurance if you do not have. Just get it and don't think about it. Don't think about it. Just get it. You want to add to it, amazing, add to it. But just you don't want to think about what could happen. And it should be a schus that you should think about your family and listen to Shmuel. What you've done is right to date, you've said 30 people, 26 people have signed policies. That's likely $30 million a month in hektish that is saved, right? And now is available to be put into other places. And in Hashem, that number should be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds because unfortunately people don't have life insurance. And this should be the push they need, hopefully.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for watching this episode, guys. Very important. If you enjoyed this episode, if you want to learn how you can get involved, whether it's getting life insurance or helping out B'Sefer Chayim, go ahead and email them. The email is down below in the show notes of this episode. Or you can head to the website, b'seferchayim.org. It's Chaim with a Y, b'seferchayim.org, and check it out. The only way they'll know if you're actually being impacted is if you send them an email and let them know. You can find their email on their website, or you can find it down below in the show notes. Reach out, let them know the incredible work they're doing. Well, also, I want to let you know if you made it to the outro, you know the drill. Comment down below. You go win $200 because you watched the entire episode all the way through the outro. So comment down below anything at all, or you can start with, I made it to the outro, and this is what I think about this episode. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So make sure to join that giveaway. $200 can be yours. And I want to mention we have a new podcast. Welcome to the team. Adriana, Adina, Shoshana, now Jewish Nanny, is now part of the Meaningful Minute team. Her podcast, Notes from a Jewish Newbie, the first episode drops Monday, 8 p.m. right here on this YouTube channel. So go ahead, hit that subscribe bell, Monday, 8 p.m. We almost got a full week of content for you guys. Motzei Shabbos, Meaningful People, Sunday night, Stories of Hope, now Monday night, Notes from a Jewish Newbie. Stay tuned for that. I want to let you know that this feature film, Homeless, is coming very, very soon. I'm really excited about that. Big thank you to my friends at Seventh Heaven. You know, vegan chocolate, amazing vegan chocolate. Yeah, you've seen it in the groceries. I know you have. You're like, what is this? It's not dairy, but it tastes like Reese's. What is going on? Yes, Seventh Heaven is good stuff. They're one of the big sponsors of our film. And so let me tell you something. If you're in a grocery and you see Seventh Heaven chocolate, don't even think twice. Grab that off the shelf and eat it. Or you can head to the website. Go check them out. They got great food. Lastly, thank you for joining us over here for this episode. And stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button. More episodes coming your way. Until next week, my friends, have a good one.